To use a transit analogy, Andy Byford fled the MTA because he felt like he had been tied to the tracks while a train driven by Andrew Cuomo cut his legs off.
Towards the end of my tenure, I felt that the job had become somewhat intolerable.
In his very first interview since quitting, Byford detailed on CBSN New York's The Point the ways he had been marginalized and ignored by the 800-pound gorilla in Albany.
There was a situation where people that worked for me, and even people that worked for people that worked for me, so 2 levels down, were being summoned to be given directions about how the subway or the bus system, mainly the subway, should be run.
The directions, Byford said, handed out at the governor's office.
I needed to be left to run the system. I found myself being undermined, if I'm honest.
Were you being undermined by the governor?
To a large extent.
After Byford became a crowd favorite, riders christened him Train Daddy. The governor masterminded an MTA transformation that reduced Byford's role.
It got to a point where it was obvious that even the dumbed-down role, the reduced role that I found myself in, even that, I was not going to be allowed to get on with what needed to be done. It's the governor's prerogative to see whomever he wants. I get that. But I just would not accept the fact that my people were being yelled at, they were being given direction, and I was deliberately excluded from those meetings. That's just not right. To me, it's actually dangerous also that people who are not professionally qualified should give direction on operational matters.
So you didn't think the governor was acting properly?
I had to make my own mind up. As a person with very strong principles, can I accept a situation where I'm in a safety-critical role and that people are being given direction on operational matters behind my back?
All right, and Marcia joins us here now. Now, Marcia, there were some ideas being floated around about the possibility of Byford taking a job at NJ Transit. Did he say anything about that?
Well, you know, I asked him about it, but interestingly enough, although people have talked about him taking the job, nobody at NJ Transit, according to him, has ever reached out. But I have to tell you, he told me he's been gotten a lot of offers, both in transit and not in transit. He did say that there was some part of him that thought it would be really a psychic victory, so to speak, to go across the river, turn NJ Transit around and say, see what you lost.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about the idea, you asked him about possibly running for mayor. He's certainly beloved in the city, so did he say anything about that?
But he said he's had enough politics for now. I think that, the politics at the MTA has really soured him, for now at least, on politics in New York or New York State.
And now he had kind of a false alarm of a resignation letter. He sent the first one back in October. What was that one? What was in that one?
Well, what he told me was that he had complained about the politicization of the MTA and that he felt it should be run strictly as a transit organization, not something that should be part of the politics of New York City and New York State.
And have you gotten any kind of response from Governor Cuomo's office after this scathing interview, it sounds like?
They're trying to take the high road, actually. They just sent me a statement saying that he was a great member of the team, their word, not mine, and they wish him well. But they do point out that he said that when he left originally, that he was leaving because his job had been diminished by the transformation at the MTA. But of course, you know who was responsible for diminishing that job. Right. And there you have it.
Well, thank you very much, Marcia.
Thank you.
And you can see Marcia's entire interview with Andy Byford tonight on The Point at 6:30 or this Sunday at 10 a.m., 2 p.m., and 8 p.m. right here on CBSN New York.